China holding a one-game edge, and let's meet Team China. Playing at lead today is Wang Rei. Playing at second stone is Yu Xinrei. Playing at third is Lu Jinli. And skipping Team China is Lu Xijia. The alternate is Meiji, and their team coach is Zhang Wei.
Lineup for Team Japan. At lead we have Yumi Funayama. Sorry, Ana Omiya is coming in as lead. Second, Kaho Onodera. Third and vice, Sayaka Yoshimura. And the team is skipped by Ayumi Ogasawara. Yumi Funayama then as the alternate, team coach being Fuji Miki.
Nice shot here of this magnificent ice park curling hall, dedicated six-sheet curling facility here in Karuizawa, Japan, where Olympic curling was reborn in 1998 as a full medal sport. Semi-final Friday here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. China will play the red stone. Japan will play the yellow stones. Japan will enjoy last rock advantage. China's on match point. There we see confirmation of the stone colors and the hammer.
Games may begin. Good luck and good curling.
So Sander, all the pressure here on the host Japanese team. They need to win this game to survive and keep their championship hopes alive.
Yeah, absolutely. As it stands now, they need to win 2 games. China only the 1. So big pressure on them, of course, in front of their home fans. They've been a bit up and down. I think the Japanese girls have had some really good games, but they have been a bit sloppy as well. So, China with Wang Rei drawing to the house, and a bit of a surprise here for me. Ogasawara calling the corner guard, especially in the women's game. For some reason, we've seen a lot of defensive openings in the first end or two, but maybe Japan now feeling that they need to really clutch on and put some stones in play and try and win this right here.
I agree, Sander. As we said, China's on match point, so this is a must-win for Japan, and maybe they're thinking, we've got last rock in this game, let's try to make the most of it right away. So they do elect the corner guard, so get ready for some entertaining curling, fans. I think we're going to have a very interesting first end.
Ana Omiya with a nice corner guard. Ana Omiya and Yumi Funayama have been switching roles a wee bit.
That's right, Sander. We've seen both players in the lineup this week.
Funayama playing the first 4 games. Then Ana Omiya coming on for the next 4.
Nice touch there from Wang Rei, tapping her own stone straight back. These teams are quite evenly matched.
Very important to keep this yellow stone in play. Well, this was going to curl over, just ticking the red. Interesting to see if Lu Xijia is going to peel the corner guard or not. She is. So again, the Chinese employing a fairly defensive tactic. Saw them do this against Korea. Chinese second player and vice skip Yu Xinrei with the corner guard peel. No problems.
Yes, we did see a very low-scoring game between China and Korea, and it very nearly paid off for the Chinese, taking Eun Young Kim down to the last rock of the game. So cautious play can pay off rather. I've got playoffs on the mind, obviously. We're in the playoff round. Kaho Onodera. Removes one Chinese stone, spills over to the edge of the 12-foot. setting up pretty well now for Team China. They'd like to force Japan to take one. Good separation between the stones. Nice shot there.
Yeah, nice roll. Makes it a bit harder for Team China to remove the yellow. Moving on to Lu Jin Lee, third player for Team China. Just looking to remove the yellow and hopefully stick around to lie 2. Good shot there. Get some separation as well.
And there we see the separation between the Chinese stones. Japan will try to hit and roll their stone probably back in the direction of the other Chinese shot. Japanese third stone, Sayaka Yoshimura. Tiny roll. Sweeper's getting a workout early in the game. Nice execution from Team China. They lie 2. So we saw Yumi Ogasawara open the end with a corner guard, trying to generate a 2, but now it's looking like they might have to settle for a score of 1. Nice shot there from Yoshimura.
Hoping to gather the stones, didn't quite do that, but with a nose hit here from Liu Sijia, there might be a double on. So Liu Sijia will try and roll a bit to the left of our screen.
Away from Ruiza, the mascot that's emblazoned on the button area, mascot of the town of Karuizawa.
As Mount Asama as a hat.
Yes, look at the button next time and look at the hat of the mascot. But now let's look at Chinese skip Liu Sijia. Right on the nose.
Yeah.
So a bit of an angle there now for the Japanese. Maybe a chance of a double. There we see a great shot of the angle. Yumi Ogasawara heads down to throw it. This women's team very popular in Japan. Big media following for them here this week.
Yeah, a couple of TV crews next to us.
Ayumi, of course, well known in Japan as a curling player, having appeared at Olympic level. They want the inside roll, but just on the nose.
Yeah, that was a missed chance to catch the blank. Most likely going to be forced to the 1.
We mentioned as we were looking at the standings on the opening that Korea have advanced to the gold medal game in the women's event. In the men's event, if you weren't with us earlier today, Japan has likewise advanced to the gold medal game. They had a very impressive showing this morning against Team Australia. So just 2 games this afternoon in the semifinal. Slightly towards her own shooter. So maybe a bit of a tempter here for Ayumi Ogasawara. But I think she's going to play it safe and just try to score her 1. If she could throw the kind of peel weight perhaps that her Japanese male teammate Isuki Morozuma could throw, perhaps you could think about a double and a rollout, but not sure that Ayumi can throw that kind of weight, so she'll be content to score 1.
I think you're better off scoring 1 here, though. You don't want to give up a steal. So just making the safe call. They did try. Put up a corner guard. Waiting for this one to curl. Hanging out there. But curls enough. So that's going to be 1 point for the Japanese. And China will be looking to take advantage of hammer, perhaps.
Fist bumps there from the Japanese women. Congratulating Ayumi on the hit and stick. And yes, it will be interesting to see what China does with the hammer here in end number 2. They have played pretty conservatively. But they are now trailing Japan, so perhaps the deuce will be on their mind. Chinese team can play offense. They've got nice touch with their draw weight. The other semifinal match in action, of course, in the men's event is between Korea and China. We'll update you periodically on that game. That one is the final of the best 2 out of 3, so the winner of that game will go to the gold medal match. Omiya with the shot, throws it into the rings. So the continued conservative tactics of the Chinese, just opting to hit that one. No corner guard this end, at least not on that shot. We have seen Lucy Jia change gears, playing a hit on the first shot and then a corner guard on the second.
Yeah, well, if Japan rolls out, I think China will throw the corner guard, since there's then no risk whatsoever.
And these stones are creeping further forward in the house as well.
I would say with that stone positioning, throwing a corner guard now is not very risky. Japan will probably try and peel it off if you get a miss. Come around the corner guard, set up for you 2. If they make a couple of peels, then you can go for the hit on the yellow and black the end. That's still a very cautious approach, but it seems like China's going to do the same as they did against Korea. Play this very neatly.
Nice shot there by Wang Rei. That stone just biting the green 12-foot circle. If you're new to curling, we refer to the circles by their old imperial measurements. The green circle, the outermost circle, is called the 12-foot. White circle, the 8-foot. Blue circle, the 4-foot. So Japan rolls into the 12-foot. No extra credit for being in a nearer circle. It's all about being the closest to the center when all is said and done. Yushin Rei. don't think she's going to hang around.
Could be tempted to throw a center guard here, and Ogasawara will. So good to see that Ogasawara is not going to let China do whatever they want to.
Kaho Onodera being asked to place this tight center guard. They want this close to the house, so it really falls to the sweepers to make that decision. Sliding into the rings, however.
Bit of a mistake. It's not going to put any pressure on Team China. Yu Xinrui has 3 gold medals at the Pacific Junior Championships. Twice with Binyu Wang.
Binyu Wang, of course, has enjoyed enormous success at the women's level, at the World Junior level, at Olympic level. So, if you're a Chinese curler, and if you've ever had the chance to play with Binyu Wang, chances are you've had some success. Again, the Japanese stone sliding into the rings, maybe even behind the tee line, just to the back of the button. Yes. Sayaka Yoshimura looks a little surprised by how far that one went. We are on the second end of play, so now the pace of the ice will be coming up to maximum pace.
Lu Jinli hits and sticks. Lu Jinli, one of the less experienced players on the international level. It's her first Pacific Curling Championships, and while she was alternate in 2003, she's never played a international competition.
So for an international rookie, she's performed very well this week. Lu Sijia holding the broom for Lu Jinli.
Well, China's becoming a country that has lots of good players. Very often you'll see, especially from countries like Canada and Scotland, Switzerland, Sweden, they might participate with players you've never heard of, but that doesn't really mean they're banned curling players, just that they've struggled to come out of their country, because there's top world-class players ahead of them.
You're absolutely right, Sander. I recall China first appeared on the international curling scene back in 2002. Prior to that, nobody in the world really knew if there was any curling at all happening in China, but all of a sudden one year they appeared at the Pacific Championships. Japan trying to hold the line on this one. I wanted to stick around, but I think it's going to roll out of the house. Just to finish the thought, I remember talking to a couple of the Chinese players that were there, and in my non-existent Mandarin and their halting English, and they managed to explain to me that they were from the city of Harbin, which I'd kind of heard of. And they were explaining to me that the city of Harbin had about 8-something people, and I'm thinking, okay, 80,000, 800,000. No, 8 million people in the city of Harbin. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, it was like an epiphany. You know, the 1 billion Chinese curlers, these guys are going to be good really, really quickly. And the quality of Chinese curling has really leapt forward in the 12 years that they've been competing internationally, and now they're not just competitive, they're winning world championships.
Yeah, I was, remember talking to the Norwegian coach of our youth Olympic teams that went to Innsbruck. He was talking to the Chinese coach, asking how they ended up with the team they had participating. And the Chinese coach said, well, we started with 8,000 kids. We worked our way down and we picked 4. And then they asked the Norwegian coach, well, how did you do it? And he said, well, we had 3 players in the appropriate age, and then we had to find another one and make that girl start to curl. And she practiced for about 3 months and then participated at the Youth Olympics.
Amazing.
So it's a bit different.
Very different. Ayumi Karuizawa looking to hit and stick and hopefully generate a force.
Karuizawa had some breakthroughs as a junior. Probably a surprise back then. She made it to 2 World Junior Finals. First one being in 1998, Thunder Bay, Canada. Remember, well, I wouldn't remember, but I know because I'm a stats geek, and I watched the game. And John Morris won the gold for in the men's event that year.
John Morris, a very well-known player who's achieved at the junior level and gone on to considerable success in the men's level as well. So, routine task here for Lucy Jia, nothing in the house, so blank end coming up for China. China sails it through the house to retain last rock. So it's a blank end on the second. And we go on to the third end with Japan holding a 1-0 lead. So still very straight up and down. We have seen a couple of attempts from the Japanese to force the issue with center guards. But so far, nothing generating into end with come-arounds and taps. So we'll see what end number 3 brings us.
Well, I'm not sure how much the Japanese team has studied Team China this week. Often you're too occupied with your own games. But after seeing the tactics employed by China in the first couple of ends, they might think, well, is this what they're going to be doing? Well, then we're going to throw the center guard. And I'm hoping Karuizawa has that thought to force the play.
Japanese women's team have an excellent coach, Fujimiki, who no doubt will be aware of the playing tendencies of their Chinese opponents and sharing that with his team.
Center guard is called by Team Japan. So we've seen 2 choices from Team China normally. Oh, man. In the rings. I'm just going to say either they draw to the wing or they draw around, which is pretty normal. But this is also a tactic we've seen from Lucy Jia. Hit the center guard, roll to the wing. And this is, of course, not Anaomiya, but Wang Rei, lead for China.
Yes, Lucy Jia has attempted to hit guards and then reposition them into the corner for their own use. That one stays just about on the center line. There's Wang Rei.
I'd be tempted to throw another center guard, to be honest.
Well, if you're trying to generate a force and maybe a steal, then stacking the center guards is definitely the tactic.
Because always good to draw around the center guard, but that stone is so close to the house, and then it belongs to China, so they can just run it in. But understandable, Japan doesn't want to go all in the third end. After all, they have the lead, so sure, it really is China that's they're supposed to be aggressive. They do end up with a center guard though.
So Japan lays down the challenge by stacking the guards, and China now responding. And they'll try to come around them. Here's Wang Rei. They're worried about the line. They're well by. Very nice stone there by Wang Rei. Fully buried.
Youngest player on the ice today, Wang Rei, born in 1995.
So she probably doesn't remember the 1998 Olympics that were held here in Karuizawa, unless she had an excellent memory as a 3-year-old. But in this Olympic city, she has just thrown an excellent shot. Japan trying to follow it down, getting a corner and bouncing a little bit into the open. So China with the hammer here in the third. They played the second really conservatively. Japan trying to mix it up a little bit with some guards, and now China with a chance to go on the offense. Yushin Rei. This one needs to curl. That's a pretty good result for the Chinese. Some separation between their two stones. They might have bounced their shooter a little bit more into the open, but they like to. And there's a bit of a stagger there, though, so possibly a hit and roll here. Kaho Onodera on the in-turn. Looking for the inside roll. Point of contact is essential, though. Very nice shot. Saying hello to Hiro Sato, former World Curling Federation executive and longtime supporter of Japanese curling, who's among the crowd here in Japan. Great shot there by Onodera. Going to force China to rip the center guard. They blow it by the second one, so no double clear there. So center guard does remain for Japan. It does belong to China. Sayaka Yoshimura preferring the outturn side.
Yeah, Karuizawa just pitching two options there, either come around and hit the red one or draw one on top. I think a good result here could be to actually tap your own stone, just a quarter of a stone, and then just slide on top of the red.
Yeah, if they could somehow get inside, it would have to curl quite a lot to make that shot, but that would be a great result if they could make it. Here's Yoshimura. Omiya, Onodera on the brushes.
Even with a nose hit here, they'd be looking to maybe just tap their own yellow a wee bit.
Stone coming down now. Sitting just in the front of the button, slightly nudging their own stone, so Japan does lie one. Corner frozen with their own stone.
Well, no double takeout for China.
Here we see a great shot from our overhead. Hard to see the Chinese getting inside the front stone. might be able to get to the nose of it. Here's Liu Jinli, looking to at least bounce these Japanese stones around, but she has to get by the center guard first. Oh, just by. Great shot. Wow. China lies too. I think I saw a spark when I went by the guard. Let's watch. Just so close by the guard. Great shot. Said they couldn't get inside. Well, got to the nose. That was pretty impressive. There's Liu Jinli. So now Japan has to make a play at the Chinese stone that's in the open. There's the hit. They roll across. They would have loved to stay behind those guards, but they pop out the other side. Japan lying 1, but in the open. So good opportunity here for China. They've got the hammer here. Little inside roll. They really almost panic swept that one, Sander. They really jumped on that one. In the end, they could have used a little bit more roll. Still in a pretty good situation, though. You can see angle formation, what some curlers call a bit of a Christmas tree. We see the center guard. One in the top 8 foot is half around that. The one in the back 4 foot is half around that. There's a great look at it. So very difficult for Japan to get any kind of an inside roll here. They'll be content to make a play on the front stone. Maybe set up on the second one for a shot at a double.
Yeah, they're not removing the best stone in the house right at the moment, but they're removing the stone that's causing the most problems. Really blocking off the 4 foot for Japan. The stone at the top of the 4. Sweeper's working this one really hard. I think we're on the guard. Maybe not a terrible result, but well,
huge opportunity for the Chinese.
I'm gonna disagree with myself.
Yeah, it's not such a great result, unfortunately.
Yeah, given that there's only one stone left here, she's going to have to make a double just to give up 2.
Or alternatively, really gamble and try a freeze. So not a great situation now for Team Japan, but a great opportunity for China. They know this is a big opportunity, so they want to make sure they're making no mistakes around stone placement. Remember, this is game 4 of a best-of-5 semifinal. China holding a 2-games-to-1 advantage, so China's on match point. If they win this game, they advance to the final. Japan, on the other hand, need this win to force a 5th game decider. There we see in the center of our screen, China lying first in second shot. Looks to me, Sander, like they're electing to play a nose hit on the Japanese stone. Leave themselves lying 3. Do you like this call?
Well, it seems like you've could have easily drawn July 3, but I think this is okay as long as she makes the shot.
Most shots are okay if you make them. Some of them are just more difficult than others.
I think she's just feeling more comfortable with the hit rather than the draw. They have been playing most of the hits so far, so it does make sense. That's a good shot.
Spot on. China lies 3. So, decision time now for Team Japan. It's one of these decisions that you could massively gamble, try to freeze for a steal, but that would be hugely risky. Japan looking for what I would consider a safer option, which would be try to double these stones off, at least get rid of 2 of them. At this point, dropping a 2 would be like a moral victory for the Japanese. You really want to avoid dropping 3.
If you have the Shinkansen weight of Tetsuro Shimizu, you might be able to play the triple. Did seem like they were calling it though.
They were looking at the angles.
I'm not quite sure if this is enough weight to do that.
There's 1, there's 2. Does it push out of the rings? So yes, 2 stones eliminated by Yumio Sawara. Nice shot. Not quite the triple takeout, but the next best thing. There's 1 just across the face of the back stone and pushes the 3rd Chinese stone sideways out of the rings. So a sigh of relief for Team Japan. Free draw for 2, however, for Liu Sijia. But Sander, things could have been much worse for the Japanese.
Yep, always make a double on your last shot. So a bit of a saver for Japan, but China will score 2. Most likely. But
Liu Sijia has the entire house to draw 2. He needs about half of the 12-foot to score 2. Last stone of end number 3.
no panic from the sweepers yet, so thinking this one looks pretty good.
They like it. And indeed, not only in the 12-foot, but right into the 4-foot, so it's 2 points for China. Nice deuce there from the Chinese, and they take a 2-1 lead in this semifinal match. So we saw the attempt by Japan to generate a little pressure with some center guards, essentially backfire on them. The Chinese took advantage of those center guards to generate their 2. But now last rock returns to the Japanese. As we mentioned, there is one other semifinal game in progress here at the Ice Park Curling Hall in the men's event. Korea versus China. This is the 3rd game of their best 2 out of 3. They've won 1 game each, and so far in this game after 2 ends, they have 1 point each. So incredibly even between these 2 teams. It's going to be elation for one of them and bitter disappointment for the other, because there's nothing to choose between them. But back to our feature match in the women's event. Play now in end number 4. Japan with the hammer. Wang Wei throws the stone into the house as requested. Ni in my limited Japanese means 2. That means it's a mid-guard. These teams use a 10-number system to divide up the rink in terms of distance. And Ni it is. Mid-guard.
Ni in Norwegian
Almost
is 9.
Ni is 9. So take caution out there when you're trying to put together a mixed Swedish-Japanese team. A Norwegian-Japanese team, you could have stones all over the ice.
China again looking to draw the house. Really limiting the amount of guards they have every game.
China very, very cautious about throwing guards that their opponents can use.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just drawing around the corner guard here, given how defensive China is. I don't think you're going to see them throw a center guard at any moment. Even with the draw around the corner guard, you would be lying shot, so I don't think there's any risk in it. But again, it is the fourth end, so we're not going to rush the Japanese.
Looking for the roll. Take them nearer that corner guard.
The tactic, of course, of drawing both lead stones in the house for China is force Japan to play the hits, and they'll be hoping that they roll out on one occasion, and then they can rip the corner guard, and the whole aggressive end is ruined for Team Japan, and they'll have to wait another one. While Japan is just trying to force the play away from the center line, so they can come around the corner guard risk-free. Because, of course, when you have the last stone, you want to make sure there's always a path to the little panda in the center for at the point, if anything goes wrong. Now they feel that since there's only one stone in the house at the top of the 12, and draw around the corner guard seems less risky. So Onodera with the in-turn draw.
I said 8-9, so that's at least to the T line. Sliding just into the back of the 12-foot. China indeed electing to rip the corner guard. That one is fully buried. Yu Xinrei. Nose hit. Just ticks the Japanese stone, but leaves it there, so that's a break for Japan. They get to keep their corner guard and their second shot, so another chance to whip another one in there.
Yeah, that's really not the way to miss the corner guard peel. Usually you're lucky if you play the nose hit and you catch the back one, but not this time for Yu Xinrei.
Trying to get by. No, they feather it.
Second prize.
Second prize and almost a corner freeze. So they do save their shooter. And turn it into something useful that they might be able to use later. But an opportunity now for China to choke off that corner guard.
Also call the freeze onto the yellow backstone, which is, I think, playing to Japan's game for this end. Getting the stone around the corner guard. And if you make the perfect freeze, you will allow Japan to follow with the freeze.
Well by the guards and lots of weight. Gets a useful little inside roll, actually. So now we see Ayumi Ogasawara saying maybe we should deal with that front one. Sayaka Yoshimura says, I can see it. Japan playing the yellow stones, China playing the red stones. Looks like They want to make a play on their own shot to redirect it off the Chinese stone and push it behind the corner guard. Weight control is going to be essential in this shot.
Yeah, if they play the soft way here, they might be able to roll both the L's in behind the corner guard somewhere. Plan B for Ogasawara. Going to try and come around and remove the back red. That is well skipped by Ogasawara to make that call early.
Absolutely right, Sandarova. The veteran experience of Ayumi Ogasawara recognized that Sayaka Yoshimura was wide on that shot, but salvaged it by recognizing it early, getting the team to sweep, bringing it past the intended shot, and removing the Chinese stone. So well skipped indeed, Ayumi.
3 yellow stones in there now. It's never comfortable if you're on the red team.
If you're China, you're a little nervous now. Not only do they belong to Japan, but the hammer also belongs to Japan. This one does not look heavy. A little bounce there. So, interesting rock formation now. The angles look to me like the Japanese could make a play on the Chinese stone and not jam on any of their own, and maybe leave themselves lying 3.
Well, that's the fun thing about curling. Most of the ends in the game is unique. And I can say I've never seen this situation before. I think.
That is the great thing about curling. You get to see something new every day.
I'm going to take off a few of the reds here.
Trying for the double kill. And there they go.
And Japan line 3.
Sayaka Yoshimura. Let's look at the replay. Bang, there they go. Yoshimura with the upweight hit with accuracy. So, challenge now for Team China. Those 3 stones, not quite like Mount Asama, but they look a bit like a mountain there. There's the Chinese coach, Zhang Wei, and the alternate Meiji looking on in this magnificent ice park curling hall. Curling facility dedicated to curling year-round. And I can tell you that everybody enjoys playing here. I've spoken to most of the players and coaches this week, and uniformly, everybody raves about this place. So, big test for Lucy Zhao. The guard. So comes to rest in the back of the 8-foot. Trying to neutralize those Japanese stones, but maybe an opportunity here for Japan to play similar kind of weight and nudge it back to the back of the 12-foot. We see Ayumi Ogasawara patting her brush in front of that stone, so she may be content to freeze and use that as a setup shot for her last.
Very tempting to move it though.
Well, were I in the shoes of the Japanese skip, I'd be thinking about bumping it. Probably wouldn't fit in the shoes of the Japanese skip. Now we see Ogasawara coming back up the ice to have a chat with her third.
The split in the top yellow, actually.
That's an interesting option, maybe a bit more risky. So Japan thinking if we reposition the stones, get ourselves maybe lying shot and second and third and fourth shot. Maybe that puts the heat more on the Chinese.
The other option I was looking at was maybe repping the corner guard, forcing Lucy Jia to draw one into the house without leaving a double. You could put some pressure on her, but again, that's really hoping for your opponent to miss. It's when you play curling, you should be trying to make shots yourself.
So Japan definitely trying to make this shot. We believe she'll be looking to promote the stone that's on the front 12 foot. Player saying that's got about back 8, back 12 foot weight. It's all about the angle now. There's the bump. How far will it go? Just half into the 8 foot, so pretty close. I'm not sure if Japan is actually shot. China may still be shot. The players are taking a look at it. From this angle, it looks like the Japanese might be shot. From this angle, it doesn't quite look so convincing.
Not quite sure what they were looking for on that shot, to be honest.
Well, I believe, Sandra, they're trying to push that stone at least another 4 feet forward from where it is right now. But they could have just drawn there.
Yeah.
That's right.
They were looking to split it. That's what I saw from the hand gestures, but I'm not sure.
Unfortunately, all they've done is make it a little bit more difficult for themselves to get at that Chinese stone if they want to get more than 2. But there are Japanese stones all over the place, so danger here for China. That stone at the upper left of our screen in the edge of the 8 foot. Japan could angle raise that onto the red. Lucy Jia recognizing that that's the danger stone. Her teammate Liu Jinli says if you freeze that one in the back, takes all the danger away. We've said it a couple of times in our broadcast this week. Sometimes the best guard is second shot. But no room for error here. You're watching live web stream coverage of the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Semi-final action. Lucy Jia trying to draw to the back of the 8 foot. Players on it early. They must get this into the rings for second shot. I think it's going to pull up short.
Now imagine if Japan moved the corner guard.
Just imagine. Or imagine if they'd drawn and sat in front of that red stone, but that's the imagination. This is now the reality. So an opportunity here for Japan to cash in, but they're going to have to make an angle raise to do it.
There's a bit risk here too if you end up nosing it. China steals one and then they're 2 points ahead, but I think it's worth the risk for sure.
This is a shot you have to try. I'm not even sure that Japan is line one right now. If I was the Chinese team, I would definitely ask for a measure anyways.
If I was the Chinese team now, I'd be pretty nervous.
I would be very nervous. Cute. That means 9, so it's quite a quiet wait. That's only a back of house kind of wait.
Well,
I'd be a bit surprised by that. I think they'd be looking for a little more weight to move that red stone. You lose a lot of momentum on an angle push.
unless they're talking about 9 seconds from hog to hog.
That could be.
That would be a control
That would be
takeout.
control weight. That's true.
Or 9 seconds from hog to tee, which would be pretty hard, but I'm thinking the control weight is the call. Looking at the ice. Big shot for Karuizawa here. Sweepers on it right away. Got to keep the angle. Got to hit the right hand side of the stone as we look at it. There we go. Clicks the red.
Great shot, Japan.
That's a score of 4 for Team Japan. That's going to please the home crowd. Big shot from the Japanese skip. I thought they didn't have it. I thought they had to overcurl that shot, but good sweeping.
Great job from the front end sweepers of Omiya and Onodera holding the line. Crucial shot for Team Japan. And they needed every inch of that sweeping. Big 4-point end for Japan, and they go in front 5-2. Now that is big time shooting. Accepting the applause of this Japanese crowd. Well, if you were with us in the morning game, you saw Japanese men's skip Yusuke Morozumi, make an incredible angle raise triple takeout to score 3. And that shot from his Japanese compatriot was almost as good. Probably one better because she scored 4.
Well, it was definitely a key shot in a game that's proven to be pretty tight so far.
It's a definite top 5 candidate for our shots of the week.
And now I'm going to be really interested to see how China attacks this 5th end, because I haven't really seen them be down 3 yet. I'm sure they have, but I haven't seen it happen.
That's a very good point, Sander. They've been very content to play tight games. There's usually 1 or 2 points in it either way, and now they find themselves down 3, so will we see them go to the offense?
Some of the problems with playing very defensive is you play all the defensive shots, and when you finally find yourself down and you need to play aggressive shots, you might not have that.
Might not be in the repertoire.
No, exactly. They might be there, but might not have practiced it this week. You know, the ice, new arena, everything.
Wang Rai with a nice corner guard, so China are straight back to the offense.
In the men's game, China scores 2 in the 3rd end, leading the game 3 shots to 1. It's going to be the final game. Our best out of 3 for Korea-China.
Well, we've seen some amazing games between those two teams. Very close.
This time on our feature sheet, it's Japan drawing into the house, wanting to stay a bit defensive, which makes more sense when you're leading by 3. But not sure if you should switch on all the defensive gears yet, though. Giving up 2 here is he's not favored. Might want to keep a little bit of pressure on China, so throwing the tight center guard could have been an option. But when China rolls out here, maybe.
Well, after you deal your opponents the kind of psychological blow that happens when you score a 4, Last thing you want to do is give them a life by letting them score 2 or 3. So I'm not surprised at all that the Japanese are playing for a force. Now they're looking to rip this corner guard. But it's more of a nose hit, but they get a pretty good result. It does roll to the center, so probably wasn't plan A. But the net result gives Japan a center guard. Some protection for their shot rock, so Japan will have to change gears now and start playing around that guard. Here's Yushin Rei. Nice looking stone here. That's about as good as you can make it. Lots to play for here, of course. Not only at stake is the Pacific Asia Championship, but also places representing this region at the 2015 Women's World Curling Championships, which will be held in Japan, in Sapporo. So Japan now saying, right, we're going to try and guard the end out, stacking a second guard. Saying to China, come and chase us. Here's Yushin Rei looking to double clear. Sweeper's not laying a brush to it. This one has to curl. No contact at all, I think. Right by. So, after dropping that forehand, sign of jitters maybe, Sander, from the Chinese? Maybe a little, maybe a bit of panic?
Could be.
So a big chance now for Japan to defend that stone that's sitting just about on the panda. Trying to build a bit of a granite wall out there. Sayaka Yoshimura. She, of course, made that big setup shot in the last end that allowed Ayumi Ogasawara to make that angle raise for the 4 by making a great double.
This guard from Yoshimura coming a bit too deep.
So those guards are clustered, but they are also overlapped.
Don't think there's a triple on.
Yeah, no angles there for a triple, but China will be looking to remove at least 2 of these guards. Big weight from Lu Jinli. 2 guards do disappear, but 1 remains. Japan lying 1. Play here on end number 5 of this 10-end contest. Must-win game for Japan. Semi-final Friday here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Women playing a best 3 out of 5 semi-final series. China leading the series 2-1. Japan trying to get back on level terms.
I'm just going to mention that the Korean men's team picks up 2 points in the 4th end, so it's all tied up after 4 ends, 3 each. Korea, China. The last game of a best out of 3. Nice guard by Yoshimura. Leaves some separation.
If you were with us earlier in the week on World Curling Television for our men's game that we broadcast in the round robin between China and Korea, you saw one of the most amazing comebacks. Korea led that game at 1.7 to 2. China fought all the way back to tie it up at 8. But Korea won it in an extra end. Very nice stone there. Clearing the guards and also springing the Japanese stone off the button. That's about as good as a result as you could get.
Well, that is the third's job. Tidy things up before the skip.
That's why the thirds get the big money. Make the bailout shots. Here is Ayumi Ogasawara. So now Japan will be thinking, what can we do just to get a force? They want to stick around. They don't want to give China a chance to draw around that guard. It might just be a tempter for China. They might be able to go a shot, but yeah, it looks to me like that's what they're considering doing by that broom placement. Yu Xinrui checks the position of that Japanese shot rock. But now China's saying, okay, that corner guard is still useful for us. We're going to try and get two. You like this call, Sander?
Yeah, I think so.
We see there the corner guard on the left-hand side of the screen. Don't know that China can fully bury and get shot, but they can certainly fully bury and get second shot, or they can partly bury and get shot.
This is the kind of call that I've seen, I haven't really seen from Team China, but now that they're desperate, they're starting to make these calls.
We did wonder how they'd respond to being down 3. Would they pull out the aggressive play? This is definitely an aggressive call. Well by the guard. Yoshimura sweeping it back, and I think just far enough to leave Japan shot. Maybe we'll get another look on our overhead. Quite a crucial decision to see who's shot here. You see Sayoko Yoshimura taking another look at it. Now Ayumi Ogasawara also going to take a look.
I think I'd be tempted to just draw down onto it though.
And I think
if you bump it, you bump it.
Yes, getting a stone in front of that Chinese rock is definitely the prescription that they're looking for. So, aggressive play there by China. Got a chance here for Japan if Ogasawara can make this freeze to nail the force. Turn. Can't afford to be on the guard. Fantastic sweeping by Team Japan. But did they get second shot? They might just have. Now it's a three-way measure. My goodness, Sander. I don't think that was plan A for Ayumi. Wanted to be much wider by the guard than that. Fantastic sweeping from Team Japan. I thought they were crashing the guard all day, but the sweepers did a fantastic job holding the line. And now it's a big decision for Team China. Are you 1? Is Japan 1? Is Japan 2?
Seems like Lucija thinks that they're lying second shot and they're going to hit the shot stone, which is on the left hand side here. Just check in to the edge foot and score 2. But I think we'll see a measure either way.
I think you're right. I think the Japanese will call for a measure regardless of the outcome of this shot. Unless Lucija, of course, manages to make a triple takeout or something like that, but that's not the intended shot, just a hit and roll. Final stone of the fifth end. So it's definitely one for China. Now the question is it two? High five. They sound a little panicked, but no panic necessary. Well-made hit and roll for the one. They are asking for a measure. So we'll see the officials come onto the ice with the measuring device. What a crucial point. Sayaka Yoshimura taking about 25 looks at it.
I wonder how they did this in the 1500s. Did they just fight?
I think they would, yes, I think they would just fight.
Very precise tool.
Umpire Sue Windorf making the measure.
See the little needle there, pressure needle. Very often the umpire's head gets in the way, but
she will move away the. And they're back in the game, Sander, at the fifth end break. It's Japan 5, China 4.
Well, interesting development.
Very exciting first 5 ends of curling here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Semi-final Friday here. There you see confirmation of our line score. Best 3 out of 5 women's semi-final. This is game 4. Updating the other match in action in the men's event, Korea versus China. They are deadlocked at 3. Incredibly tense match there. The winner advances to the gold medal game. So we'll take a short break as the players take a break, and we'll be back shortly with highlights.
Taking a look at some of the highlights, we start off in the first end. It's Ogasawara coming out aggressive in the first end, trying to score a deuce, but will be forced to the one. Nice hit and stick for the single. Japan leads 1-0 after one end. Second end being blanked. We skip to the third end. Karuizawa made a nice double with her last stone, but does leave a draw for 2. Lu Xijia makes no mistakes. 2 shots to 1 lead after 3 ends. In the fourth end, a lot of yellow stones gathering up around the house. Lu Xijia coming up short with a draw, leaving this shot for Karuizawa. Key shot in the game. Scores 4. Big shot for the Japanese skip, pleasing the home crowd. In the fifth, not quite sure who's lying shot on the wing. Lu Xijia playing the hit and check into the 8-foot for at least 1. And after a measure, umpire pointing to the red stone saying it will be a score of 2 for the Chinese. 5 shots to 4 lead for Japan as we head into the 6th end of play. Japan with the last stone advantage. My name is Sander Rolvang. I'm joined by Hans Frauenlob here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2014. We're in the Ice Park Curling Hall. What did you make of those first 5 ends, Hans?
Well, we saw on the highlights that incredible clutch angle raise takeout by Ayumi Ogasawara to count 4. That was a huge end. Could have gotten in control. I was slightly disappointed by her last shot there in the 5th because I think the Japanese could have really maintained momentum if they would have forced China to only score 1. I think now with China scoring the deuce, it's anybody's game really. So lots of offense though, now stones in play. And I think the second half of this game could be a really entertaining proposition. So a wreck there on the attended come around by Anna Omiya. So 2 guards up now.
Yeah, sort of a plan B for Japan. Has a corner guard.
Yeah, it's not a bad result.
The 6th end. If I was Japan, I'd be looking to try and cautiously score 2, with the blank end being an option.
It's important for Japan to maintain momentum in this game. They really built themselves a nice lead. They don't want to see it slip away. If China could level it, China would be thinking, it's our game. Whereas if Japan could come back with a deuce of their own to follow the Chinese pair, they'd be back in firm control of this match. Here's Anna Omiya. Trying to corner freeze that Chinese shot rock. Once again, crashing the front, the Japanese.
Yeah, taking the center guard twice, leaving it in the same spot.
I guess the only small consolation for Japan that did leave them stones in the front to play with, but China's about to remove one of them. Yushin-Rei.
Played the World Mixed Doubles Championship in 2013.
It's an event that I also competed in. And the Chinese team, that was the first time that China, I believe, sent a mixed doubles team. Could be wrong there, but when you play mixed doubles, you certainly get a lot of practice throwing the come-around draw shot.
Chinese skip Lu Xijia played this year, last season.
Curling is bidding, of course, to have mixed doubles introduced as a medal discipline at the Winter Olympics. A decision on that will be made early in 2015. Well, 3 crashes on 3 center guard attempts now for the Japanese in this end. And this end is definitely not starting the way that they wanted. I'm a bit worried about momentum loss.
Starting to wonder if that first center guard is slightly bigger than the other stones.
It's funny, I was talking to Australian lead Steve Johns after their match this morning against the Japanese men. And they were lamenting because they would freeze stones and the Japanese men would just blast them out of play. And Steve said, "You really need to invent a square curling stone. And then that way you could lock one on for a freeze and it might stay there." So yeah, maybe that center guard might have a little bit more width than the other ones had, but we see now 4 Chinese stones in the shot.
Well, joking aside, I think the stones are pretty much the same.
Stones are absolutely perfectly matched. We haven't seen any stones displaying strange characteristics this week.
Been talking to the teams also. Haven't really found any dodgy stones. It's very common for the alternate player to come out and try and match the stones in the evening practices. Don't think that's going to be a huge factor in the game.
Kaho and Adera looking to turn things around for Team Japan here in end number 6, trying to clear some house here. There's 1, there's 2. Spilling to the back of the rings. Will it get out of the rings? Karuizawa sweeping it. Will it spin back? Oh, it just goes off the rings. So nice result there for Kaho Nadera, making up a little bit for her first shot where she crashed the guard. Here we see on the replay, good action. These stones are lively. And the spinning rotation of that stone taking it right out of the rings. Japan enjoying last rock here on the 6th, but China lies 1. Stone coming to rest just slightly across the center line. Eugene Lee. Bit of a teaser for Team Japan. You might think about coming around that with quiet weight and chasing the shot rock, but Ayumi Ogasawara looking at the angles, considering running that stone back into the Chinese stone that's just off the rings at the top right. Great look at the angles there.
Bit of a danger as well. You might spring the red one onto the winger and that might spin back onto the center line.
Definitely not a risk-free option here. Bit of a speed wobble coming out of the hack there for Yoshimura.
Good shot.
That was a good shot. Leaves the Chinese stone there in the corner, but much more usable now as a potential corner guard for the Japanese. High fives. So China trying to protect their 1. Liu Jinli. This is a must-win game for the Japanese women. Semi-final action. Best 3 out of 5 series. China's leading at 2 games to 1. Japan trying to force a 5th and decisive game. Ogasawara now has a bit more of that stone available. There's Sayaka Yoshimura. We believe she can probably see at least half the rock. There's confirmation. So a chance here for her to hit and roll behind that corner guard. Sweeper's really on this. They're worried about the line. They just feathered the guard. So for the 4th time this end, the Japanese crash a center guard. Thought the sweepers were going to get it by, but they just feather it. Heartbreak for the Japanese, but a big opportunity for China. You see at the bottom of the screen, Very small bonus for Japan. That stone after it feathered did jam the stone at the back of the ring, so Japan does lie second shot. So any mistake here on the guard by the Chinese will give the Japanese an opportunity to maybe score 2. Lu Si Jia. Good looking guard stone here. Don't want to leave a gap. Very good guard. Japan's going to have to deal with it. Yoshimura looking at the angles. Double kill. Koreans, oh, picks out that shot and rolls it by her own. My goodness. Everything flying on that one.
Well, that does pick it off.
Look at this. Goes by and nudges the Chinese stone sideways and just gets by that one at the back. So nice job there by Ayumi Ogasawara. Opening up a path.
And China's chosen to do something different.
Yeah, the two options here would be to guard your own stone, to try and steal. But it looks like what she's electing is to draw another one in there behind the guard, to lie 2 and set up the force.
Makes sense. I mean, there's a bit of risk that if you don't play the guard, you might give up 2. But even if you play the guard, Japan does have the draw for 1. So you might just draw the wing and make sure you're at least not giving up 2. She has played a draw down this path before. On the same end, they gave up a big score of 4 points.
So good draw weight there, and even though might be slight temptation to try a double, no real hesitation from the Japanese here. It's going to be hit and stick for 1, at least an attempted hit and stick for 1. So China, bit of a moral victory there. They have achieved their objective of the force, and if Ogasawara happens to roll out, they could get themselves a cheap steal.
And this one is hanging out there. But close enough, knows it. 1 for Japan. Still lead the game this time. They will lead the game 6 shots to 4. But fairly tight contest nonetheless. China will have last stone. And if they can score 2, they're back to square 1.
Oh, that's the first Chinese cheer we've heard this week. Firing themselves up for the back half of this game. So yes, a big 7th end coming up for Team China, trying to get themselves back on level terms.
Team China scoring 1 in the 5th end in the men's game against Korea. So they lead the game 4 shots to 3.
We have a look at the Japanese women's bench. There's Coach Fujimiki on the left and alternate player Yumi Funuyama. watching their lead. Anna Omiya play the shot.
8あるな。9。ちょっとあるよ。まだ。止まってきてるけどちょっとまだ早いよ。まだ滑りたい。
Japan now will be the team trying to force. This one's going quite deep in the house, so I think Team China will, without hesitation, throw up a corner guard. Here's Wang Rei. That one creeping quite close to the rings, but stopping short in the free guard zone. Looks like Wang Rei could use a massage after the game, favoring her shoulder a bit there. Here's Anna Omiya. That one sliding also to the T-line area, obscuring the face of Ruiza, right on the button. Japan lies 2. Nice double takeout there by Wang Rei, eliminating both Japanese stones. And again, we see that shoulder. It's a bit sore there, but didn't hurt her on that shot.
It's not a uncommon injury for a curling player. A bit of a strained shoulder from the sweeping. I've had that myself.
Kaho Onodera. Nose hit, little roll. Once again, Japan lies 1. Yes, my colleague Sander Volvag has competed in this facility for Norway in the Karuizawa Invitational. Had a look at a program there at lunchtime today with a nice picture of my colleague in it.
I actually played in the old one though. The year before this was built.
Okay.
So I'm afraid to say I haven't been able to participate in any events at this amazing arena. Although I did enjoy the old one as well.
Yes, across the road from here is the former dedicated, well, still a dedicated curling facility, the Skating and Curling Amusement Place here in Karuizawa. Right next door to the arena, which is now used as a hockey arena, which was the venue for the 1998 Winter Olympic curling event. Japan trying the double clear after that nice hit and roll by the Chinese, and so China with a little something going here. They're looking to score there too and tie this game up. Of course, Karuizawa has the currently unique distinction of being the only city in the world to host both a winter and summer Olympic event. Curling, of course, in 1998. And
equestrian events?
Equestrian events, that's right, Sander, in 1964. When the Olympics were held in Tokyo. But the equestrian events were held right here. This one creeping a little tight, so possibly setting up a double for the Japanese and a chance to bail out in this end.
That is a big miss.
China was definitely looking to capitalize by guarding that stone.
3 or 4 more corner guards there. It'll be looking like a share 2 for China. But Yoshimura the chance to kill that right off. Right here. Fun fact about Yoshimura, she played lead at the Pacific Junior Curling Championships at the age of 14.
Well,
Getting a silver medal.
Yes, no means they're close. And there it is, double takeout for Yoshimura. It's usually a pretty good clue. You can close your eyes and just listen to the sweeping calls. You don't even have to see it. If the players are going yes, no, you're in the neighborhood. And that neighborhood was double takeout. So China with the last rock, trailing by 2.
Well, even if they have to blank this end, it's not the end of the world for Team China. And being the 7th end, then they can go ahead and try and score 2 in the 8th, tie it up, force Japan to take their 1 in the 9th. And a good chance of scoring 2 in the 10th for the win. So
we have talked in other games about the importance of controlling last rock, so in the 10th end that you're in the optimal position to have that advantage coming home. Hammers that Chinese stone, rolls across the rings. So Japan again lying 1. High fives from our teammates. Good end there for Sayaka Yoshimura. Lu Jin Lee makes the nice nose hit. Every team here will have a weight communication system that they use to say how hard they're going to throw the shot. Nice stone there from Karuizawa. Japan lies 1. So I agree, Sander. I think China will be looking to blank this end and try to use the even ends to their advantage to get themselves to the finish line. This is match point for the Chinese. If they could win this one, they would advance to the gold medal game. Japan, on the other hand, looking to force a decisive 5th and final game in this best-of-3 semifinal. Lu Sijia. Slight roll to the outside, changing the shot just a little bit. Quick update on sheet B. The Korean men scored 1 on the 6th end, so again that game is deadlocked, 4-4. Play in the 7th end. China now with last rock. But here in our feature match, in the women's event, China versus Japan. Yumi Ogasawara trying to hit and stick. Very Gentle clean there. They need this one to stick around. Well, and it just does. Now quite a straightforward exercise for China to blank. They don't even have to roll off the rings, or they can nose hit. So the blank successfully executed by China. They will retain the last rock advantage in the 8th end, and so after 7 ends of play, you see our score. Japan leading at 6-4. But now control of the even ends goes to the Chinese. And they will be looking to score in this end, ideally 2. So we're shaping up for a really tight finish here, Sander.
Yeah, I would say so. And of course, that's what we hope for as neutral fans.
It's always more entertaining when somebody has to make a final shot in the 10th to win the game. So a tight game is more exciting for the viewers. Of course, the players would prefer to have a huge lead. Here's Anna Omiya.
And the men's semi-final. Last game of a best out of 3 situation. Korea playing China. Korea picks up 1 point on the 6th end. It's now 4 each as they play the 7th.
And those teams, as we've said earlier, have had incredibly tight games. Really nothing to pick between them.
Yeah, Chaliang having to draw the 1 foot for the win earlier today against Korea. Around the guard.
And we saw yesterday that Soo-Hyuk Kim had to make a delicate shot against 2 to win a game in an extra end. So absolutely nothing to pick between those teams.
And it's all tied up right now in the 7th. So
once again, they're heading to a down to the wire finish. So we'll keep you up to date with that game, but our feature game here has got equal importance. China is on match point. A win here puts them through to the gold medal game. So Japan here is fighting for their life. They would love to be Pacific Asia champions right here in their own backyard. To do that, they'll have to win this game. And also win the following 5th game decider. Right now they're in the lead, 6-4.
nice shot by Anna Omiya.
2 Japanese stones stacked on the center line. Here's Wang Rei. She made a double takeout in the last end, and she's being asked to do the same again. Once again, Wang Rei delivers. Not often you see leads making double takeouts in consecutive ends, Sander.
Nope. Most leads, they play draws and guards. Got a nice shot there from Wang Rei. Most importantly, stayed around in the house with the playing stone. And would love to have this hang around behind that corner guard.
spins back a bit, so might offer half protection anyways. We see that Lucy Jia immediately asking her second player, Yu Xinrui, to make it come around. Looking to tuck around that corner guard. Good sweeping from the Chinese. They bring it up right alongside the Japanese shot. But we see there it's half open, so bumper weight being called for. Kaho Onodera trying to remove this Chinese stone. Don't know if she'll stick around, but a nice shot regardless. Rolls out of the rings. So another chance for the Chinese to attempt to come around draw. They'll be looking to have this one get a little tighter to the guard. Same shot for Yu Xinrui. Guard. This one's going a little deeper. Behind the tee line. How far deep will it go? I think Japan might still be shot. So a bit of a sweeping error there from Team China. They are behind the guard, but you can see there perfectly buried, but maybe perfectly buried in second shot. So Japan's saying, okay, we're shot, let's split the house. That looks like a force to us.
Maybe a little bit hard for Yoshimura to focus. And all the screaming going on. Just 2 sheets over, but that's a part of curling. Should be used to it. It's a bit different today though, only 2 games out there. So if you're not making any noise yourself, it's really only the 1 sheet.
I think most players would tell you they love having noise and atmosphere in the arena, but yeah, sometimes it can be a bit too quiet. There, very nice weight. Japan lies 2. Lucy Jia holding the broom for her third player, Lu Jinli. Trying to close the house up a little bit here by hitting and rolling towards the stone in the back 12 foot. There's the hit, there's the roll. How far will it go? Very nice stone for China. China lies 1. Perfect hit and roll. Corner freezes her own. So let's look at the action here. There's the hit, there's the roll. And absolutely perfect. Corner welds. Be very difficult for Japan to remove it, so I think they'll just try to freeze.
So I think it's fair to say we're going to have a score on this end now, with 3 guards behind the corner guard, a 4th to come. Mentioned Yoshimura played Pacific Juniors as a 14-year-old, getting silver, but she's also a three-time gold winner at the Pacific Junior Championships. As a skip. Also getting bronze at the World Junior Championships. And that's a nice shot.
That is a beauty. So the great hit and roll by Lu Jinli is answered equally by the great freeze from Sayaka Yoshimura. Really like those angles, Sander.
Not a junior anymore.
Nope. She's a grown-up now playing in the big leagues at the women's level, and that is a pistol. Great shot for Japan. Three players sweeping this one. I think it's light. Can they get it there? Well, they're by the guard. Great sweeping. Bringing it into the 12-foot. A little bounce. But I think Japan is still lying one. Just. Great sweeping there from the Chinese front end. Not 100% certain. Great shot there from our crew on the overhead. Looks to me like this Japanese stone at the back of the 8-foot is lying first shot, and we see that the Japanese are splitting the house, so that absolutely confirms it. There's another look. That yellow Japanese stone corner frozen. That shot. And Japan looking to split the house now. To lie 1-2. We did see a couple of ends back. Okasawa trying to generate a force by drawing for second shot over curling, so quite important that she makes this one. This one's not heavy.
Got to drag it further. Well, that's plan B, I guess. Leaving it at the top of the 8-foot.
And Japan would have definitely preferred that one at least to the tee line. Now it brings up the possibility of a thin cross-house double for the Chinese.
I don't think there's any risk really playing it because the 8-foot is pretty much open. So if you miss this one, you're going to be left with a fairly simple shot for one.
And we can see from the angles there, we look at Yu Xinrui looking at the angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stones on that side of the sheet, so lots of stuff to crash into. Great look at our overhead. They could thin it and go yellow-yellow, or they could thick it and go yellow-red. Either way they could lie shot. So a bit of an error there from Okasawa. They would like that one deeper. Here's Lucy Jia. We're close. There's the hit. Wow, great shot. That has really changed the equation here in this end. Let's look at the replay. Yellow, yellow pushes it sideways, and now I'd say China is lying 2, maybe 3. So that great freeze from Yoshimura. Freezes aren't protected when the stones come in sideways. China lies 2, probably 3. So huge, huge pressure shot coming up. They must freeze. There we see in our overhead.
I think they're lying 2.
I think they're lying 3, Sandra. That's really close, though. You definitely measure it. Regardless, Okasawa trying to neutralize that by freezing the Chinese shot.
Yeah, big shot here, even if they're only lying 2. A miss here could give China 3 points in the lead.
They don't want to bounce, but this does look heavy.
Yeah, it looks heavy and wide. This is not good. And it's going to slide off the red. Well, at least bouncing that back red.
Well, that certainly eliminates any doubt about third shot, but what it does do is it gives China an open hit for 3, and that would give them the lead. So huge turnaround in this end. And we see the price that gets paid when you don't split the house and you leave your opponent a shot at a double. Lucy Jia took full advantage. And now China, for the first time since the third end, could take the lead in this game.
Well, with 2 misses from the one skip and a great double by the other, that really usually score you a few multiple points.
So, just taking her time now, Liu Sijia. Looking for a hit and stick for potential 3 points. Needs to stick around. Will it curl enough? Oh my goodness.
Big mistake.
So, big mistake there, but it is a count of 2 for China, so this game is tied. But Liu Sijia shaking her head, she knows. And that was a chance to go in the lead, but instead this match is tied. 6-6 after the 8th end of play. 2 points for China.
I think that was a clear show of nerves, really, for Liu Sijia. She's not really missed those shots earlier.
Yes, control weight and throwing to your sweepers was definitely what was asked for there, but a little wide, a little heavy. Usually a bad combination. Fortunately for her, she had stones to jam onto, but they'll be ruining the fact that they right now should be in the lead. Still, though, that 2 points really important. It was in the 8th end, and that would give China control of the 10th end. So quite critical now for Japan to bounce back. They had the opportunity really to force China to win that in that 8th, but some not great execution, unfortunately. Gave the Chinese the opportunity to score 3. They scored 2. Japan will be looking to either blank this end and keep last rock into the 10th, or score 2 and try to defend a 2-point lead in the 10th.
Huge mistake from Wang Wei there, sliding into the rings.
We haven't seen too many mistakes from Wang Wei in this game, but definitely China was looking to throw a guard rock there. So in some respects that makes the tactical choice easier for Team Japan. Now it's cautious play and a possible blank.
China actually calling the center guard again.
Okay, so China saying, we're not going to give you an easy ride, Japan. If we can't steal, we will force. And I like this choice as well, Sander, because even if China gambles and Japan somehow scores 2, China will have last rock in the 10th, and if they can score 2, they'd force an extra end. So a considered risk here for China.
Well, if you play the hit on the yellow, you're pretty much giving up the end, so I like the fact that they're going to try and take advantage of the free guard zone once more.
And there we see the center line guard from Wang Wei. Japan now looking to get some separation between their stones. Kaho, I'm sorry, apologies, Naomiya being asked to draw to the wing, ideally just behind the tee line.
Japan wouldn't mind scoring 2 here.
Japan would love to score 2 here.
But they don't want to be dropping guards. If they're going to score 2, they want a simple deuce. They don't want to be taking any risks. Very well swept by the girls. Brings it onto the tee line. Yoshimura a bit out of breath.
Yeah, big sweeping effort, but she knows how important Each and every stone is now for her team. They're fighting for their playoff lives. This is a best 3 out of 5 semifinal. China's leading at 2-1, so they're on match point. A Japanese win in this game would force a 5th and decider. So every rock counts at this stage of the game.
Now, very important for China to make a roll in behind the center.
Yu Xinrei makes the hit in a little bit of a roll, but still sitting in the full 8 foot. Honodera. A little roll to the outside. Nice stone there from Honodera. So yes, Japan going a bit old school in this end, trying to get separation between the stones is the way that they can score their 2. Yu Xinrei. Scores are tied. In the penultimate end, here's the inside roll that China was looking for.
Perfect shot.
That is a beauty. Fantastic hit and roll by Yu Xinrei. Look at that, wired behind those 2 center guards. Clutch shot there, Sander. Japan having to bail out now. They run that center guard. So decision time for China. There is a Japanese stone in the front 12 foot. So that second shot introduces at least the possibility of a Japanese deuce. Liu Junli. Pressure mounting on both of these teams as we get late in the contest. China looking to protect the center line. But look at these things lining up. And there may be just a straight run back now for Japan. We see there the red stone has come to rest right on top of that Japanese stone. It's not perfectly lined up, but it's just about perfectly lined up.
We'll have to catch about half stone. It's going to drag on to the red. Maybe drag even too much, but if they spill everything, I don't think Japan's going to mind. They're looking for the blank anyway.
Yeah, so the formula for Japan in this end is either score 2 or blank. Opportunity here for Sayaka Yoshimura. Trying to hit this one on the high side.
See how much drag she gets here. Yeah, a little too much.
Will it go out of the rings though? Just out of the rings. And a big appreciative round of applause from these Japanese fans. Look at the action there. Sander mentioned the drag effect. That stone went off on an angle, took all the momentum away, but Ayumi Ogasawara alertly sweeping that stone out of the house. So now an opportunity for Japan, if they can execute, to get their blank end. Nice shot there from Yoshimura, but quite frankly, a tactical error on the shot before that by the Chinese to leave that shot for the Japanese. You see red Chinese stones on both sides of the sheet, so small risk of a jam on the clearing attempt.
Playing it this way, I don't think there is a jam. That's what Yoshimura was asking about. Seems good.
That stone safely removed. Empty house. Another good end there from Sayaka Yoshimura. So the denouement on this end is looking pretty clear. It'll be an attempted blank by Japan. Japan, of course, looking to keep last rock into the 10th and final end. Skip stones now. Lucy Zhao.
底线啊，8、9，底线擦，擦一擦8、9，加上我处理2线问题。可以下线擦一擦。
Trying to bring it on top of their own to make it harder for Japan to blank. Pretty good attempt. Nearly freezes her stone that went just off of the rings. But Ogasawara will look to hit the high side of that stone and roll out. You see both teams have plenty of playing time left. This is the final event that will be played under the old time clock rules. From the European Championships forward, the timekeeping system will move to thinking time. They need to make contact, and they would like to roll out. There's the hit, and she nudges that stone a little further away from the rings as well, so an additional safety margin for the Japanese. Nice shot there from Ayumi Ogasawara. So now China look like they'll put the stone right on the front button to try and make the roll off as long as possible for the Japanese. I don't think there's any right way to think about where to put the stone in the house on this kind of shot. Some teams favor this approach. The rationale is if you put it in the middle, the opponent has to roll at least 6 feet to blank the end. Other people say stick it on the wing, changes the angle of the shot, and maybe increases the chance of a nose hit. As I said, I don't think there's any right or wrong way to play this shot. Well, the only wrong way to play this shot, of course, is to miss the house. So China does what they were looking for, putting it on the center line. And now Ayumi Ogasawara looking to blank the end. To hold on to the crucial advantage of last rock in the 10th.
Asking for a bit less ice, Ogasawara.
Here we go.
Maybe a bit tight.
Immediately on it. Will they roll out? No, they won't. So Japan scores 1, but it's a 1-point lead they wish they didn't have. They were looking for the deuce instead. They hit and they stick, scoring 1. So Sander, immediately before the shot, we saw Ayumi Ogasawara ask for a little bit less ice. And in the end, maybe that cost her. That stone curled to the nose. and a big disappointment for the Japanese.
It seems like she was asking for less ice and then threw the stone a bit tight as well, and that's never a good combination. But they have the lead. And if I'm not mistaken, stats will say that if you're 1-up without hammer, you win. There's a slight advantage for the team being 1-up from the stats that I've seen.
Yeah, so even though Japan would have loved to be tied up with the hammer, as Sandarovic says, being ahead on the scoreboard is not always a bad thing. As a matter of fact, it's usually a good thing. So China has to score 2 here to win this game. If Japan can force China to score 1, then they would carry on to an extra end, and Japan would have the last rock advantage again. So time for the Japanese to regather themselves. Only bad outcome for Team Japan is a Chinese 2. Right to the top of the button. Nice control weight there from Anna Omiya to get the Japanese underway.
Maybe the biggest change with not having last stone here for Japan is it's not Ogasawara that's going to be making the shot for the win. It might quite possibly be Lucy Jia that will face the pressure of playing a last stone to win the game. That's a big change.
These teams, of course, have been very evenly matched all week. We mentioned that in the women's event here, it was a double round robin. In the 2 round robin games between these teams, Japan won one of the games by a 7-4 score. China won the other round robin game by a 7-4 score. And in the morning match, China won 7-6. And at this moment in the game, Japan is leading by 7-6. So I don't know how you can get much closer than that over 4 games. Big effort here from the Japanese team. They can't hog this rock. They're bringing it across the center line. They don't want a really long guard, but they don't really want it crossing the center line either, and it has. Exposing their shot rock. There we see Anna Omiya. And Lucy Jia now saying, okay, that's our 2 guards. Let's try and get that shooter.
In the men's game, semi-final, there's a blank in the 8th end. Korea is trailing by 2 points with last stone in the 9th end.
And then we see a big mistake from Wang Rei, crashing that center guard. So big chance now for Japan to go for the force by ripping that other corner guard. We see Ayumi Ogasawara immediately running up to that guard. So big turnaround in this end.
Maybe a mistake right back here.
My goodness, mistake for mistake. A nose hit there from Onodera on the clearing attempt. So the needle of advantage swings back to China.
I get the feeling that there's some nerves out there now.
Well, it's not like there's nothing to play for. This is for a spot in the gold medal match, this semi-final round. And it's also all about qualifying your country for the World Championships. So players know that. And yes, not surprising at all that maybe some nerves creeping in here in this incredibly high pressure situation. Nice shot there behind the corner guard. So big decision time for Ayumi Ogasawara. See her instinctively saying, let's protect our shot rock. Could go around the corner guard. draw into the back 8 foot for second shot, but now, no, it looks like the center guard is the shot being called. Onodera, who nosed a clearing attempt on her first shot, looking to redeem herself.
ちょっとあるよ。ちょっとある。つける？いや、まだラインは外。5、6。
We don't want this one too tight, but it's coming right into the rings. So now they're looking to salvage it by freezing, but leaving a small gap. Japan lying 2, but China's thinking, okay, here's our chance. China does have last rock. They trail by 1, but a score of 2, of course, would win them the game and a place in the finals. Yu Xinrui. Looking a little apprehensive there when she was preparing to go into the hack. So eliminates one of the Japanese stones, but rolls out herself.
Was really looking to keep that red stone in play.
Yes, really was wanting that one to stick around. So again, another decision for the Japanese. That stone is now off the center line, so not such an attractive proposition to try and guard it. But it is shot. Sayaka Yoshimura felt like she might have stepped over some debris on the way to her stone, so asks her teammate to clear the slide path.
I, for one, haven't seen a single pickup all week.
And let's hope we don't see any. Sayaka Yoshimura now being asked to throw the out turn. Big pressure shot here. If she can make it, Japan would be in great shape to try and get the force that they need.
Taking some extra time here, Yoshimura, to compose herself. Heart might be racing.
Sweepers look like they like the weight. It's a question about the line. So in this carrying, it does need to stop. Looks a little warm. Will it stay in the rings? No, it slides to the back 8 foot and the back 12 foot.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen this end. Some heavy draws.
Yeah, his nerves are really playing a part here. So again, another opportunity for China to lie 2. 2 is what they need.
It's tough to play those soft shots when the heart is racing.
China needing this one to stick around in the house, of course. Right on the nose. Yoshimura looking to play a similar shot that we saw Lucy Jia play a couple of ends ago. Trying to hit the inside of this stone and roll towards that corner guard action. But Japan's in big danger now. No line yet. So it's another nose hit.
Well, it's not too bad because China's going to have to roll somewhere not to leave the double.
And if they roll to the right as we're looking at it in this picture. There also might not even be second shot. Kind of really depends where the stone placement is.
Seems like you have to roll in behind your own red. I'm not quite sure what the call is.
China does have last rock. 10th and maybe final end. We will go to an extra end if the scores are tied.
The men's semi-final also playing the last, well, potential last end, the 10th end. Korea not being able to pick up a score or two in the 9th, having to blank, so they're still trailing by 2. Need 2 points for the extra end.
Lu Jin Lee. Pressure mounting on both teams. Nice shot on the nose, but we can see from the overhead here a possible double for the Japanese.
I think you have to go for it.
I agree. At this point now, if you trade shots, although saying that, if you nose hit this one, you're forced China to try and draw for their second point because they wouldn't nose hit anymore in Lai's second shot. So there are some options here. But instinct would say if you have a chance to make the double, Lai 2 makes it very difficult for China to score 2. So Yumi Ogasawara heads to the hack end.
Missed a blank attempt in the 9th end. So she'll be looking to redeem herself. Made a big shot in the 4th end, score 4. So
sensational shot.
She can't quite possibly make it, but with the ice they're taking, not quite sure if they're looking for the double. Maybe just a roll
behind the pile.
Yeah. It's a fairly flat double, so
it is a quiet looking control weight. Waiting for this one to curl. They're close. Did they leave it too long?
I think they have.
So, sweeping error there from Team Japan. They were looking for more of a roll, and they probably had the opportunity, but missed the line call. I see China now looking at the placement of these stones.
You know, if she hit that stone the exact same way as she did with some more weight, double was there.
The double was there.
I think China's going to try and hit this yellow and roll back to the left and try and flatten the line between the red stones. And if she makes this perfect, Ogasawara will not have a double, and she's going to have to draw somewhere perhaps. So it's almost like she can win the game right here.
First skip rock for China here in the 10th. Mu Si-ja looking to remove the Japanese stone, maybe even make a double takeout. But more importantly, roll her shooter to the right. Sweepers onto it immediately. On the nose.
Nose is not too bad.
No double takeout, but China does lie 2, and the angle is very awkward for Japan to attempt a double takeout. That would be a very thin double. So not a bad result for China. There we see from our overhead, that's a very steep angle, so were Japan to try the double takeout, they would have to hit the top rock very thin. It is there. So it's one of these situations where you can elect to gamble and play that thin double. Make China look at 2. The other option here would be to draw around that one on the center line, throw it perhaps into the back of the 8-foot, 4-shot, and bury it and force China to either try a run back or a draw. Or alternatively, you could come the intern towards the Chinese stone on the 8-foot look to feather it and roll behind that center guard, and maybe in the act of feathering the red stone, pushing it far enough away for that back stone to count it out. So a few options here for the Japanese, but none of them are easy. They've called timeout. And here's Fujimiki, so let's listen into their discussions. Crucial moment here for the Japanese.
多分あってもね、目当ては難しい。俺ね、球が好き。What do you think? Outturn camera.
オフが分からん。滑るかな。
Well, you're good at your draw. ね、これないとね、internal これ。
薄くだったら
インターンね、ティン。
Fin? Well, you could try that. That or come around. Come around するんだったらね。
後ろだ。
You have to come back 4 foot. Okay. So you have 2 shots.
後ろまで OK だからそっちのがまだチャンスがある。
So Fujimiki gave the team really the options that we were discussing. One of the options is at the thin double. The other option that he discussed was drawing around the center guard to the back of the forefoot. And that looks to be the option that the team have selected.
Well, there's a real big difference between the two shots, so it's you play the double, you play it and to make it yourself, and you'll probably see an extra end even if you make it.
Yes.
You play the draw, first of all, putting all the pressure on your opposing skip, Lucy Jat, and she's going to have to make the shot. And that's the real big difference, I think. And also, if she doesn't make the shot, you might win it right here. I do think I like the draw.
So the draw is the election of the Japanese team.
You always like, well, some players like killing the game off themselves. Some players like putting the pressure on the opponent. And I think we have seen some of the nerves from Lucy Jat, so this could be a good option.
Sweepers on it immediately. What they can't afford is to crash that front stone. They have to get it by. Sweepers are really working it.
That's not looking good. I think I was just going to say
no. So it is a crash on the center guard, and it is victory to China. So China will advance to the gold medal game. Disappointment for the host team Japan, but elation for the Chinese team in an incredibly close contest. They've got their 2 points that they needed in the 10th and final end, and China wins this one 8-7 without having to throw their last rock. Huge disappointment for the Japanese, Sander, but a great comeback win for China.
Yeah, certainly a close contest between the teams, and it's really hard to say who deserved the win. I guess you have to say China, because they actually did win the game. But a shame for the home favorites, of course. A lot of home fans came out to see the game today hoping for a Japan win, but there will be more chances to come, I'm sure.
Well, of course, Japan will automatically get a berth at the Women's World Curling Championships, but yes, the Japanese fans here would have loved to see their team in the final tomorrow, but that won't be the case. Japan will play in the bronze medal game. China will advance to the gold medal game against Korea, and that should be a hummer.
I guess the Korean fans also a bit disappointed knowing that if Japan won that game, they wouldn't have automatically been in the World Championships.
Yes, and while we're on this wide shot, we can tell you that in the men's semifinal, Korea has in fact tied the game up. So they scored a 2-point end rather in the 10th end. So they are tied at 6, and there will be an extra end in the men's game. So we talked about how close that the score was, or the scores were between these Korean and Chinese teams. And now Korea versus China in the third game of their best 2 out of 3 semifinal find themselves again going to an extra end.
Well, don't leave us yet, because we will try and pan over to this game between Korea and China. Here we go. And I'm afraid we won't have player mics for you, so a bit less sound for this game. Maybe a bit of an awkward angle, but I hope you appreciate us giving you this extra end. A bit of a bonus after our future game between China and Japan, the women's semi-final. We will have an interview with the winning side, China and the women, and also some highlights from that very exciting semi-final after this extra end. So Team China with last stone, looking for the tech shot here. Wanting to move this red stone to the side, but no, it's going to over curl. So Korea now with a good chance of putting 2 center guards in play. Really taking advantage of the free guard zone. As we hear Team Japan, skipped by Karuizawa, receiving a applause from the home crowd, even though they missed out on the final. And we also see Korean lead player Yoon Ho Nam make a perfect long center guard. That's superb lead play. China now electing not to play the soft bail. I want to place a yellow stone at the top of the forefoot. That's a pretty good shot. That's of course going to block the way to the forefoot for Korea. It's going to be a bit of a nuisance. We're looking to maybe draw around the yellow. So Ho Kim, skip for Korea. Sean Tuk Park, second player for Korea, has been playing some amazing peel, some upweight shots this week. This time he's going to have to find his draw weight. Bit of a key shot here. Doesn't quite get the line. Does snag a piece of the forefoot though. And a bit of decision for Chang Chaliang. Does he want to remove this red or start ripping the guards? Well, the only problem with taking off this red stone is you'll leave Korea with a chance to place another one in there, a better one perhaps. And if they do draw a better one in there, they might be left with running off the guards, and Korea might just be guarding that shot then. So with that stone being behind the tee line for China, they could have said, well, you can guard that stone if you want to. We have the 1 foot to draw onto with our last stone. But do decide to take it off. Another draw for Chontuk Park. This one's looking really good. Just squeaks by the yellow. That is a perfect draw. And Team China, though, will try and come after it. We might just see a tiny piece behind the long guard. Ba Dexin, Chinese second player. Bit tight on line and takes off the top guard, and there we see the problem for Team China, taking off that previous shot stone for Korea, leaving Korea a chance to come in with a better one, and now a chance to guard this instead. And if they do perfectly guard this throughout the end, I'm not quite sure what type of shot China's going to have to play to win. Zhang Zhaliang making some hand gestures towards the umpires. Perhaps his time clock running when it shouldn't have been. But say they have enough time, both the teams, to play the extra. You get 9 minutes. They reset the clock, so they give you 9 minutes plus a timeout. Korea now looking for the long guard. This one slipping a bit too close. Good separation though, but with the upweight skills of this Chinese team, I would say there's a good chance of the Chinese third player, So Duja, to make a double peel. And it might spring on back to the stones in the house. Takes off 1, 2. There we go. Pretty good shot there. Clears up everything, but does run off his own yellow stone. But good news is, Korean stone that's left in the house is now just on top of the 8 foot. So if Korea were to guard the stone throughout the end, Zhaliang will be able to draw the forfeit for the win. So I'd say that's a much better situation now for China. Big shot from the third. Really helping out his skip. As mentioned, we just saw China beat Japan in the women's semi-final. So we'll have Team Korea playing Team China in the gold medal game. Highlights from our semi-final will be shown after this extra end in the men's semi-final. Plus perhaps an interview with winning skip Lucy Jia. As we see So Duya making no mistakes, taking off the center guard. Korea is going to guard it once more. Winner of this game, of course, will play Team Japan. Yosuke Morizumi, unbeaten so far this week. Beat Australia this morning in the semi-final to clinch a spot in the final and also a spot at the World Championship. So the winner in this game, of course, will grab that second place at the World Championship in Halifax. Nice guard by Korean skip Soo-Hook Kim. Cha Liang is probably just going to run this guard off, and then Soo-Hook Kim is left with a few options. No problems for Chang Cha Liang. Takes off the center guard. Korea now down to their last shot. Have called a timeout. So their coach, Se Yong Yang, will come down. Few options here. We could throw the guard, but that will leave a draw to the forfeit for China. So it'd be more and more obvious call is to come into the house, but where do you put your stone though? Either you tap your red stone straight back, or you just place it maybe on the wing, on the edge of the forfeit perhaps. The very same situation we saw in the Olympic final back in 2002, Canada playing Norway. Kevin Martin playing Norwegian skip Paul Trulson. It was the Norwegians that had to steal for the win. And they had a stone in the very same spot Korea has now. They chose to draw to the back of the forfeit. Tucked a piece in behind the top red stone. Kevin Martin played the out-turn draw. Came up heavy, ticked off the top red, slid a half stone too deep, and Norway won the gold. Korea choosing a slightly different approach. It seems like they've called the tap on the red. So I just want to tap this red stone straight back onto the lid. If they do so, Cha Liang will probably have to play a double for the win. So, Soo-Hook Kim, last stone of the extra end. Looking pretty close. Going to punch this right on the nose. That's a very good shot by the skip. He can hardly do any better than that. Leaves almost no room for Cha Liang to draw to. And he's pretty much forced to play the double. Problem though is the red stones are perfectly lined up. So if he does catch the red stone off nose to make the double, he might roll out himself. Huge pressure on the Chinese skip, taking over the head for Roy Liu, who placed fourth at the Olympics. This guy was playing lead for that team trying to lead Team China to another gold medal at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Firstly, he has to make this double for a spot in the final. 1, 2, they go, and he sets it. It's a win for Team China. Big shot from Chang Chaliang to win it right here for Team China. Such a close matchup between Korea and the Chinese team. Two wins for China today against Korea. We're going to have some highlights from our future game. Sixth end. Chinese team lying 2. And nose hit for Japan. And they lead 6 shots to 4 after 6 ends. The 7th end is blanked. Oh, it's a big shot for Lucy Jia. Made a super double with her first shot. Japan missed the freeze. Had a nose hit for 3, misses it, but does score 2. And it's all tied up after 8 ends. In the 9th, Team Japan looking for the blank, but Ogasawara makes the nose hit, sticks around, takes the 1. And in the 10th end, Ogasawara looking to draw around a red stone for cover, comes up short. China gets 2, wins the game. China in the final.
We're here at ice side with winning Chinese women's skip Lucy Jia. Lu, congratulations, you've made it to the gold medal for game. How do you feel?
就是他说很祝贺你进到决赛，你现在什么感觉？
感觉挺好的，感觉不错。
Feel good, feel good, very happy.
In that game, you faced a very difficult challenge when Japan scored 4. What did you say to your team after Japan scored 4?
那么日本队打了一个4分之后呢，你们很艰难的把比赛打回来了。在失掉那4分之后呢，你对你的队友说了什么？
稳住了，一局一局奔倒分打，得2分就足够了。后手的时候。
So just be patient, and when we have the hammer, we just got 2, and then we just counting down the ends and play to the last end.
And you trailed in the 10th and final end, but you had the hammer. What was your end plan for the 10th end?
那么你第10局的计划是什么呢？因为你有后手嘛。
我第10局的计划就是把中区敞开，确保我最后一投，然后如果可能的话，我就得2分，然后直接赢得比赛。
She has 2 plans. The first one is open the central and then draw for 1 and tie the game to play the extra end. And then if we have a chance, we just got 2.
Well, the second plan is what happened for Team China. You did score your 2 and you've won the game. So congratulations to Team China. You have a place in the gold medal match. Good luck tomorrow.
那么很祝贺你啊！希望明天你们好运。
Well, if you're not entertained by what we've just seen, I don't know what to tell you. Tomorrow we have more games at 9 o'clock. We have the final. It's the women's gold medal game between China and Korea, and at 2 o'clock we'll have the men's gold game, Japan playing China. So for us today, after a very exciting day of curling at the Karuizawa Ice Park Curling Hall for the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2014. My name is Sandra Olvag. I was joined by Hans Frauenlob. We'll see you tomorrow for the finals.